on this
Thank you,
issue.
Dr. Simon. Having been in the industry 30 years, I think we'd agree on a lot of things, not least this sector has come and gone, it's had its highs and lows, and having been in your position back in 2010, we were here, pharma was closing, biotech was on its knees, this happens, and not every government gets it absolutely right, but in that period we did do some big things. One of them was to create an integrated life science portfolio, Office of Life Science set up, working across government. I was lucky enough to hold that first portfolio, and I'm very struck, perhaps we can come to this in a minute, about how fragmented the portfolio has become. But I wanted to ask on this nice question, because it seems to me, and Patrick, you made a really interesting comment earlier, we heard in the first session, unequivocally from industry, the core problem here is NHS procurement, pricing, and I'm not suggesting it's easy, that's what they said. It's not skills, it's not research, it's that. And isn't it time that we really change the NICE model? It was put in place by ministers to protect themselves from horrible decisions to say no. Shouldn't we now be looking at a much more adaptive system that says pathway 1, it'll save money and lives, fast track it. Pathway 2, it'll save lives, could save money, we should test it quickly. Pathway 3, it'll probably save you money, but you need to change your care pathway. We recommend it's implemented quickly and we give approval based on evidence. Isn't this binary yes-no based on an arbitrary quality set in the 90s ridiculous? Shouldn't we be setting out a much more modern, open, international framework for real clinical health economic excellence? And Patrick, you touched on this earlier, and it feels to me like the big intellectual challenge at the
I think it's a very important one, and the foundation is this move from 9% of NHS spend up. That will happen. So I think there will be an increase in percentage spend in the NHS on medicines. And I think that then raises the question of how do you best allocate that money. NICE has been an extremely good way of making sure we get an evidence-based assessment of medicines against cost. And like all methodology, it's worth looking at and asking the question, what needs to happen going forward. But it's important to look at that in the context of a percentage increase as we go on. Otherwise, you're really stuck, because if it's really constrained, you can't do very much.
No.
And I think that's the problem that we've been living with over a decade, where we've just watched it. We've watched this go down. It was 12% in 2015. It's 9% now. It's just gone down steadily, and that has to be reversed.
I suppose my key point, because you and I both come from industry, is I think DH, my experience having been there, undervalues the value of time. And industry, I think, would take price reductions in return for speed of validation, speed of data, speed of this drug works with these patients, not with those. That was the promise of our 2010 coalition strategy. But we never broke that. And it feels to me like this is a moment to try and give that offer. We're never going to pay the highest prices in the NHS, nor should we. But we should use it as a research engine to give you better data, quicker access, and better accuracy on who your drugs or devices will work with.
Right, which is exactly what the Life Sciences Sector Plan says. It says regulation needs to be faster, and I'm pleased to say MHRA really is rising to that challenge and doing it. MHRA and NICE need to be linked, so there isn't this sort of, we do one, we stop, we wait, then we do the other, but we actually try and do things together. So that speed point is important. Second point that's important is speed of access into the NHS. Third point that's important is equity of access. Because at the moment we've got patchy access across the UK. All of those things lead to an increase in medicines